समेटे हर बात, वो है समेटने की शक्ति। तू ही है शिव शक्ति, तू ही है शिव शक्ति। भले निंदा या अपमान कोई करे, जगत माता तुम उनको स्नेह करे। तू ही तो है सहन शक्ति, ग्लानि उदासी से तू है परे। संभाले सभी के व्यवहार को, संभाले सभी के व्यवहार को। ऐसी अद्भुत समाने की शक्ति धरे, तू शक्ति धरे। तू है शक्ति, जगा ले तू ये स्मृति। शांत मन साक्षी दृष्टा, न कोई प्रभाव न कोई दबाव। परख शक्ति तेरा स्वभाव, निर्णय करने की गजब तुझ में शक्ति। सत्य असत्य को जान देती निष्कर्ष तू शक्ति महान। चाहे कोई तूफान आए, तूफान को भी तू तोहफा बनाए। सामना करने की शक्ति जगाए, हर कदम में सफलता तू पाए। हर कदम में सफलता तू पाए। तू है शक्ति, जगा ले तू ये स्मृति। तू शक्ति है जो सबको तारे, जो भी अपने जीवन से हारे। सहयोग की शक्ति जगा तू, दुखियारे है तुमको पुकारे। ये समय महापरिवर्तन का, अष्ट शक्ति को भीतर जगा। विकारों रूपी रावण को शिव शक्ति बन के जला। तू ही है शक्ति स्वरूपा, तू ही तो है नव दुर्गा। अष्ट शक्ति स्वरूपा, तू है देवी स्वरूपा, शक्ति स्वरूपा। तू है शक्ति, तुझ में बसी नौ निधि। जगा ले तू ये स्मृति, तू ही है शिव शक्ति। तू ही है शिव शक्ति, तू ही है शिव शक्ति।
Shanti. Om Shanti, everyone, and welcome to the program Discover Yourself, जिसमें हमने अभी शिव शक्ति के बारे में सुना। और शिव शक्ति जब ये समझ लेती है कि वास्तव में वो शक्ति है, तो सचमुच कमाल कर सकती है। और इसी लक्ष्य को लेकर आज हमने ये टॉपिक चुना है, और इसमें बहुत ही स्नेह से हमारे साथ हमारे आशा दीदी हैं, जयंती दीदी, चक्रधारी दीदी, I can see Dr. Vandana Shiva, you've also joined, and thank you so much. We can all see you, and we have all the other guests. We have Shruti, who's joined from Arizona, and I know that it's late there, but still you're online with us. We have Mrs. Sheila Kakade. You've joined, you're the president of All India Women's Conference. We have Mrs. Deepika Jindal also. You are the MD of JSL Lifestyle. You're also here with us. We have Dr. Priya Kaushal, who's a scientist and a humanity ambassador for World Humanity Commission. We have Dr. Prachi with us, who's working as a clinical psychologist with the United Nations, and she's presently based in Afghanistan, and all the other bright Shiv Shaktis who have joined this session. Thank you all so much for taking out the time and being part of this beautiful journey, the dialogue that we'll have together. But before that, I'd like to mention that Brahma Kumaris is one of the largest organizations which has been led by women, और हमारा विमेंस विंग है जिसके अंतर्गत हम सेवाएं करते रहते हैं। और बहुत हर्ष की बात है कि आदरणीय चक्रधारी दीदी हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। आदरणीय चक्रधारी दीदी चेयरपर्सन हैं ब्रह्मा कुमारीज के विमेंस विंग के, और आप जनरल डायरेक्टर हैं ऑफ द रशियन रीजन ऑफ द ब्रह्मा कुमारीज। सो आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट आदरणीय चक्रधारी दीदी जी कि आप हम सबके मध्य ब्रह्मा कुमारीज के विमेंस विंग की सेवाओं के बारे में और अपने इंस्पिरेशंस जो आपको इस टॉपिक को लेकर आए, डिस्कवर योरसेल्फ, प्लीज हमारे साथ शेयर करें।
ओम शांति। मेरे आदरणीय सभी बहनें और सुनने वाले मेरे बहनें और भाई, विषय बहुत सुंदर मुझे लगा कि हमारे कुछ इनर पावर्स हैं, आंतरिक शक्तियां हैं, जिन्हें हमें जानना है और जगाना है। मैं इस बात पर सोच रही थी कि अगर किसी के पास बहुत ही अच्छी सब्जियां हैं या अच्छे फल हैं या फूल हैं और उनके बीज हैं, और वो बीज किसी निश्चित स्थल पर या किसी पैकेट में पैक करके रखे रहे, लेकिन अगर आप कुछ वर्षों के पश्चात भी उन बीजों को देखेंगे तो आपको बीज ही हाथ लगेंगे। वो बीज फल, फूल या सब्जियों के रूप में प्रस्फुटित हुए आपको नहीं मिलेंगे। परंतु अगर उन बीजों को धरती पर बो दिया जाए तो वही थोड़े से बीज कितने फल, फूल और सब्जियां या जिस भी चीज का वो बीज है वो हमारे हाथ में लगते हैं। ठीक इसी प्रकार हम महिलाओं में अथवा हर मनुष्य आत्माओं में, क्योंकि आज महिलाओं की बात चल रही है तो महिलाओं के विषय में ही मैं विशेष कहना चाहूंगी। हर एक के अंदर कुछ ना कुछ विशेष गुण अवश्य होते, लेकिन अगर वो विशेष गुण अंदर ही समाये रहे और वो कर्म क्षेत्र पर कार्य में नहीं आए तो कई वर्षों के पश्चात भी वो गुण अंदर के अंदर समाये हुए दिखाई देंगे, उनका फल रूप दिखाई नहीं देगा। लेकिन आज समय की पुकार है, चारों तरफ तामसिकता, नैतिकता, हरास और भयभीत के वातावरण में माताएं अथवा बहनें ऐसे दृश्य को देखते हुए अपने समय में केवल मात्र देखता रूप रह करके या समस्याओं की श्रोता रूप रह करके नहीं चल सकती, परंतु उनके अंदर जो अपनी तिरोभावित शक्तियां हैं उन्हें जानने की आवश्यकता है और उन्हें कर्म क्षेत्र पर कार्य में लाने की बहुत आवश्यकता है। मान लीजिए आज तक धर्म के क्षेत्र में और नैतिकता की मूल्यों की स्थापना में पुरुषों ने बढ़ चढ़ कर हिस्सा लिया। मैं समझती हूं कि नैतिकता के इतिहास में कभी किसी नारी को आगे आकर धर्म के इस कार्य को या नैतिकता के इस ध्वज को फहराने के लिए ज्यादा सुंदर रोल अदा करने का अवसर नहीं मिला। आप कहेंगे इसमें पुरुष करे या स्त्री करे, फर्क क्या पड़ता है? नैतिकता की स्थापना है, धर्म की स्थापना है, मनुष्य के अंदर श्रेष्ठ संस्कारों की स्थापना है। परंतु मैं ऐसा समझती हूं कि माताओं में नैतिकता की स्थापना के लिए एक अग्रणी रोल है और वो बहुत आगे आकर अगर इसका बीड़ा उठा ले बहुत बड़ा कार्य कर सकती है, क्योंकि माताओं में पालना का संस्कार है, ये उसके अंदर बीज है, छिपा हुआ गुण है। क्योंकि किसी को भी धर्म के क्षेत्र में या नैतिकता के जीवन को श्रेष्ठ बनाने के लिए बड़े लंबे चौड़े उपदेशों की आवश्यकता नहीं होती, परंतु समाज में फैली हुई कई कुरीतियां हैं। वातावरण कुछ इस प्रकार का है कि मनुष्य अच्छा बनना चाहते हुए भी वो अच्छा बन नहीं पाता। चाहता है मैं क्रोध को विजय प्राप्त करूं, अनाचार अत्याचार के वातावरण में रहता हुआ मैं इस प्रकार के जीवन चरित्र को अपने जीवन में ना लाऊं। लेकिन कई बार समाज की इस प्रकार की दशाएं देख करके वो केवल मात्र नॉलेज के आधार पर नहीं चल सकता, उसको लगातार कुछ ऐसे माँ व्रत पालना की आवश्यकता रहती है जिससे उसके अंदर वो श्रेष्ठ संस्कार पनपते रहे। जैसे किसी बीज को बो दिया जाए और उसके उबड़ खाबड़ को निकाला ना जाए, व्यर्थ के घास को उकेड़ा ना जाए, समय पर उसे सिंचन न किया जाए, समय पर उसको धूप जल आदि ना मिले, तो वो पौधा, वो बीज फल नहीं दे सकता, वो पौधा पनप नहीं सकता। ठीक इसी प्रकार किसी के अच्छे अच्छे लेक्चर्स मनुष्य को प्रेरित अवश्य कर सकते, लेकिन चलते हुए हालात, फैली हुई कुरीतियां, तमोगुण का वातावरण कई बार मनुष्य को श्रेष्ठ पथ पर चलने के लिए बाधक बन जाते। इस प्रकार के वातावरण और इस प्रकार की परिस्थितियां, मैं ऐसा समझती हूं कि माताओं का आज के समय में बहुत श्रेष्ठ रोल है, क्योंकि माता में पालना का संस्कार और आज नैतिकता के पथ पर चलने वाले के लिए एक माँ की पालना आवश्यक है। जब तक उसे लगातार ये पालना नहीं मिलेगी, उनके संस्कारों में परिवर्तन नहीं आ सकता। इसके साथ ही साथ माता में बहुत बड़ा गुण है सेवा का और त्याग। आज किसी भी श्रेष्ठ कार्य के लिए सेवा और त्याग भावना आवश्यक है। त्याग भावना से मेरा तात्पर्य कोई घर बार को छोड़ना, कार्य व्यवहार को छोड़ना नहीं, लेकिन जैसे माँ एक बच्चे की पालना में बोल देती है, मैं तेरे ऊपर वारिस जाऊं, मैं कुर्बान जाऊं, वो जो प्यार का झरना उसका बह उठता है, वो बच्चे को प्रेरित करता है एक श्रेष्ठ पथ पर चलने के लिए। आज समाज को इस सच्चे प्यार की और सच्चे स्नेह की आवश्यकता है। माँ स्वयं गीली जगह पर सोकर अपने बच्चे को सूखी जगह पर सुलाती है। जब तक घर के सब खा पी न ले तब तक वो अपना पेट का भरण पालन पोषण नहीं करती, सबका देख रेख करती है। सचमुच आज का समय है कि अपने सुख आराम का त्याग करके अपने जीवन में कई प्रकार के ऐश्वर्य की चीजों को त्याग करके भी हम नैतिकता के आचार और प्रचार के लिए और मानव के जीवन को नैतिकता के पथ पर ऊपर उठाने के लिए आज सेवा भाव की बहुत आवश्यकता है, आज बलिदान देने की आवश्यकता है, आज कुछ कुर्बान करने की आवश्यकता है। और ये गुण माताओं में, पालना का गुण माँ का है, सेवा का गुण माँ का है, कुर्बान जाने का गुण माँ का है, बलिदान करने का गुण माँ का है। तो मैं ऐसा कहूंगी कि आज के फैलते हुए तामसिकता के वातावरण में हम आंख मूंद कर नहीं रह सकते, लेकिन बड़े प्यार से और बड़े स्नेह से हम सर्व आत्माओं के लिए इतनी शुभ भावनाएं और शुभ कामनाओं से उनकी पालना करें और मन ही मन हर एक के लिए इतना ईश्वर की याद में रह करके इस कदर उनको साकार दे और शक्ति दे। ना केवल मैं शक्ति रूपा हूँ या देवी रूपा हूँ, लेकिन शक्ति रूपा बन करके उस ईश्वर से संबंध जोड़ करके सर्व आत्माओं को शक्तियों का योगदान दे, ताकि निर्बल आत्माएं भी अपने आप को बलवान समझ सकें, कमजोर आत्माएं भी अपनी कमजोरी को त्याग सकें। इसलिए मैं थोड़े ही शब्दों में, क्योंकि कहा गया थोड़े थोड़े शब्दों में बोलना, इसलिए मैं समअप करते करते अपनी बात भी पूरी शायद स्पष्ट रूप से नहीं कह पा रही हूँ। मेरा कहने का इतना ही तात्पर्य है कि ऐसे फैले हुए तामसिकता के, अनैतिकता के वातावरण में हम बहनें अपनी शक्तियों को जगाएं और अपनी पालना का संस्कार केवल एक परिवार की पालना तक सीमित ना रख करके उसे विशाल रूप देते चले जाएं। परिवार भी एक सैंपल है विश्व का, लेकिन परिवार के साथ पूरे संसार की और पूरे समाज की जिम्मेवारी समझ करके इस कदर हम अपना समय और स्वास्थ्य दे दें, जिससे हमारा समाज के लिए सच्चा प्यार और सच्चा स्नेह जागृत हो। ऐसी मेरी मनोकामना है। ओम शांति, ओम शांति, ओम शांति।
ओम शांति दीदी, आपने सचमुच गागर में सागर को, यानी बहुत सुंदर रीति से जो आप कहना चाहते थे, हम सब ने उसके एसेंस को समझ लिया है। और थैंक यू सो मच, आपने अपना समय निकाला। एंड नाउ वी विल move forward, and we're very fortunate that we have our dear sister Jayanti from of course she is now in Mount Abu, and that is why we got the fortune of having you with us at this time. Sister Jayanti, as we all know, she is now the additional chief of the Brahma Kumaris, and she is also the director for Europe and Middle East for the Brahma Kumaris and the UN representative in Geneva. We've heard Sister Jayanti's lectures and the way she has given spirituality to the world in a very subtle and a clear manner, and how we can actually implement it. So I would request Sister Jayanti to set the context of this whole dialogue that we've all gathered together on discovering the self, especially with respect to the women, and especially with respect to the present time that we are facing. So without further ado, I would request respected Sister Jayanti to please take over. And thank you once again for joining us.
Om Shanti to everyone. And it's wonderful to see some of my friends, especially Dr. Vandana Shiva, joining us today. It's really lovely to have you with us. And of course, I know some of the others that I'm seeing on the screen, but not everybody, of course, and it'll be my privilege to get to know you. And I hope it's okay to continue in English. Is that all right?
Yes, I think so.
Good,
Yes.
thank you. Good. I'd like to bring in another perspective that I personally have experienced, and I know that the majority of those who are online at this moment will probably agree with. There may be some who don't, but that's another subject. But I'm thinking about how in the discovery of the self, the whole subject of insecurity and fear comes in, and these are the things that inhibit us. And what happens is that when I go on an inner journey, then I'm able to see who I truly am. And of course, yes, the role that I'm playing at the present moment is that of being in a female body, and that has a lot of benefits, but it also has a lot of restrictions. But when I go on that inner journey, and I realize that there are two things functioning together. One is the soul and the other is the body. Now, I can understand many things about the body from so many other sources. So let me focus a little bit about the soul. And when I realized that this inner being, I, the soul, am the being who's on a journey, and my journey is through a whole series of different births. I'm aware that rebirth is not a concept that everybody will accept, but bear with me a little while and let's see where we go with this. And what that told me was that when I understood that I'm a soul and I'm not the body, yes, I have the opportunity of reflecting and working through this human instrument, which is amazing. This instrument is a gift of nature and so precious and valuable, without which I, the soul, could do nothing. But when I realized that the soul is actually on a journey and it moves from one physical birth to another, and if I use the analogy that makes the most sense to me, this is a costume, but the actor is the inner being, I, the soul. And when I, the soul, begin to recognize myself, then this discovery for men and women, but especially at the present time, working and living in a patriarchal society, which is absolutely worldwide, given these conditions, then when I understand that actually the soul has masculine and feminine qualities, and it's up to me to select the highest of the masculine qualities which are latent within the self. And Sister Chakradhari explained very beautifully about the seeds being there for a long, long time, and maybe not having been watered, but now the time is to water them and allow them to emerge and be expressed in life. So I understand that I have the masculine tendencies, but I also have the feminine tendencies. And usually what's happened in the last several hundreds of years is that when a soul takes birth in a male or a female body, firstly the parents, and then of course the siblings and relatives and new friends, all of that, then they all underline this idea, you are a boy or you are a girl. The soul doesn't take birth with this consciousness of male or female, but this idea of gender is absolutely instilled from the very first moment that the baby takes its breath. And that becomes so deeply ingrained that where there's a boy, then whatever feminine sanskars that child may have, which are the positive ones of giving sustenance, of caring, of sharing, and working in a cooperative way, well, those sanskars, those qualities, those tendencies are not allowed to express, and they're repressed. And so the masculine sanskars, which can be very wonderful, such as determination, courage, these two things come to mind instantly. But it's these qualities that are nurtured and sustained by the mother, first of all, and then by everybody else around that child. And so what happens is that this individual grows up in the consciousness, I am a boy. And of course, then within the family situation, until fairly recently, this was nurtured very strongly. This is your role as a boy. You're going to be a man and you're going to have to make decisions. And so that is your right. All of these ideas are then instilled by the community into the head of that little infant. And of course, the older the child grows in terms of physical age, the more these tendencies begin to be expressed. And the same with the girl. But with the girl, not only is there that idea that you are a girl, but there's a huge amount of limitations and restrictions that come with that association with gender. And on the one hand, of course, we see that in India, there's the worship of the Shaktis and the goddesses. But on the other hand, the reality on the ground is very, very different. And there are no decisions permitted within the general situation. It takes a lot of courage and determination, knowing that I have that inner capacity that I can express and use. And I don't have to be put down by the general situation, but I can allow my own inner courage and determination to emerge, and all the Shaktis that were described in the song very beautifully, they are within every soul. But I, as a woman, didn't think I could access those. But now, in the awareness of my spiritual identity, I access these and I start to express these and emerge these and interact with others on the basis of this, but also in my own personal life, in my own quiet moments. I choose the sort of life that I would like to lead, rather than just follow the herd and follow the systems that have been imposed on us. So the discovery of the self is a very beautiful journey, but especially for women at this moment in history, absolutely vital, so that I don't follow the herd. I can choose a different consciousness. I know that whether it's in terms of the way I relate to nature and the environment and the world around me, it all depends on my consciousness, and that's going to be the driving force for what it is we decide for our own futures, and not just my personal individual future, but also for the world, actually. And so I can choose what consciousness to have in terms of my relationship with nature. I can choose how it is I want to relate to other people, but most of all, how is it that I see myself? Am I able to have a solid foundation of self-esteem and self-worth? So recognizing my own value, I'm able to also see the value of all others around me and give them respect. And so respecting the self, respecting others, but also respecting nature is something absolutely needed at this moment. And this is the journey of discovery. Thank you for sharing your time with me.
Om Shanti Didi, thank you for actually bringing out that we have to look at the spiritual identity and the way we are interacting, whether it is with nature or with other people, and most importantly with ourselves, and not just to identify with the weaknesses of the bodily identity that we acquired. So thank you so much for that great input, but I'm sure we'll be going back to you just after we hear our other speakers. So with this, we move forward, and I would like to call upon Dr. Vandana Shiva, who was so kind to join us from Dehradun. Dr. Vandana Shiva, as you all know, she has been, she's a renowned author, and an eco-feminist, and how when Didi, Chakradhari Didi was talking about the seed, that we all have that seed. And I was remembering Dr. Vandana Shiva of how you're working with the seed, the Mother Earth, the nature, and with women. So how you have combined the power of the women and the power of Mother Nature. So I would like to call upon Dr. Vandana Shiva to give your thoughts on today's topic of Discover Yourself.
Thank you very much, Sister Hussain. Thank you, Chakradhari Didi, for your beautiful discourse. And to dear Sister Jayanti, it is always a joy to be with you. And I think we've been on a very long journey together. In every major UN meeting, to protect the environment, whether it be Rio or Rio plus 10 or Rio plus 20. And I know as your presence brings the true purpose for why we need to protect the environment and what the environment is, I think that's part of the problem. That, you know, I was so happy to see the beautiful poem artwork that began with Shakti, because that is the Indian imagination. Yeah, the Indian imagination of the power lies within, the Indian imagination of diversity, of the 9 Durgas, of the 9 Devis. And that's why I named the movement for seed saving Navdanya, the 9 seeds, because diversity and pluralism is about peace. It is about peacemaking, recognizing that we need all of those qualities. And we need diversity of life forms, we need biodiversity, but we also need different ways in which people are, different ways of talking, languages, clothing, eating. That is what makes us rich. And that is what India brought to perfection. So to, you know, this year's Women's Days theme is Gender Equity Today for Sustainability for Tomorrow. And from what Sister Jayanti and Chakradhari Didi has said, I realized that part of what we have to be very grateful to the Brahma Kumaris for is through a women's leadership, bringing India's spiritual wisdom to contemporary thinking and contemporary imagination. It needs it so deeply. And I'm always so calmed when I'm in your presence. So calmed inside and outside. And I have deep joy just joining you all. As Chakradhari Didi mentioned, we are living in troubled times. And one could imagine that they couldn't be worse, but we should be prepared for everything to get worse. We are living through wars against nature. That's what climate havoc and climate catastrophe is about. And the new IPCC report has just come out saying it's going to be disastrous. And one of my colleagues has done a map that, you know, on the top is who is doing the pollution and who is overshooting their rightful share of the earth's gifts and nature's gifts. And then who's bearing the burden? And India ends up being the part of the world map which faces the worst havoc. We see it with the cyclones, with the drought, with the rains that don't seem to stop, with extreme events that are going to get worse. And so a beautiful word that Chakradhari Didi used about Sahan Shakti. To me, that is climate resilience. But the climate resilience, from what my work has shown, comes from diversity. We save seeds of salt tolerance. They were called inferior. They were not high yielding. And when the cyclones came in 1999, they are the seeds that burst forth. And that's why everyone has a gun, as you said. Every seed has a gun. And this idea of separation on the basis of superiority and inferiority is so much the reason that we have violence in society. All the wars come through that. The war against the earth comes from that. The war against women, there's a new phenomena of as the greed for resources of the earth increases. Because of that, people are defending their piece of land, their little forest, their little river. And women are in the vanguard. That's part of my work. I started my life with the Chipko movement. And if you excuse me, I'm just going to switch this landline off. One moment. And the Chipko movement was the ultimate movement embodying the Shakti of women. The Shakti from Palna, from love, from care, from compassion, for the forests and the trees that our sisters in the mountain call their mothers, because they mother them, they provide all the needs. And from the days of Chipko, I have learned that every violence against the earth transforms into violence against women, because women are the ones who are protecting the earth. Seen that in the forest, seen that for the rivers, seen that in Bhopal, seen that in Latin America, seen that in Africa, seen that in Europe after Chernobyl. So women have to lead the way to peace. And therefore they have to, as Sister Chakradhari so beautifully said, they have to nourish and plant the seeds that allow an unfolding of a world that does not have competition, conflict, violence, with the assumption of scarcity. The work we've done in Navdanya, and it's, I'm so happy to share this year's celebration of Women's Day with the Brahma Kumaris, is, I realized over the last few years that it's the women who are the seed savers. But they're not just the seed savers in a mechanical way, they're seed savers in a spiritual way. And part of what we are doing is regenerating the cultures that allow the spiritual traditions of our land as an ecological civilization to flourish. And I would be so grateful to receive this very beautiful opening, because I would love to play it. And the women in the villages on their own adopted, Hum to Shakti hai. So we call, it's women, farmers, target population, beneficiaries, none of that. Because we don't believe we have to empower anyone. We just have to remove the disempowerment of greed, patriarchy, domination, violence, and the seed flourishes. So the Shaktis are doing amazing work in the world. And the women Shaktis working with Navdanya showing, if we protect the earth, we grow more food. If we nourish the seeds and don't declare that this seed is inferior and this one is superior, this one is high yielding, this one is low yielding, we get the seeds of nutrition. Our ancient wheat seeds don't cause gluten allergy, and they have more nutrition. Our ancient rice varieties have more nutrition. And yet we measure the external measures of weight and dimension in the Cartesian philosophy that has become the only philosophy that is taught in schools and colleges. That there is nothing like life, there's nothing like spirit, everything's a machine. And this crude, crass Cartesian thought is now shaping how technology is perceived in the world, and the guru. And I would so love the Brahma Kumaris to have a branch and discourses in Silicon Valley. Because in Silicon Valley, they have a guru who talks about humans as empty, unimprovable machines. And therefore, we have to become part of totally innovating, changing machines. And the book that is guiding Silicon Valley today is called The Spiritual Machine. Spirituality itself has been taken out from all beings and put into artifacts. And we have been reduced to users. But I just read this morning when I got up. We are not souls. We are merely hackable animals who can be improved by other machines. That's the level of the disjunction of discovery of who we are. And while we discover ourselves, we discover our best potential to serve and love and have compassion. I do believe part of our work is to put the light in the world so that others who are getting confused, that we are not souls. We are just appendages of machines, so we can rediscover the beauty of this world as an interconnected whole. And what I have learned now, especially with saving seeds and growing food, is we ourselves are so intermeshed with other life. Our bodies are interbeings. The biodiversity outside nourishes the biodiversity within us. We are only 10% human body. We are 90% other beings, viruses and biomes. We are walking biomes and biomes. And so, wars everywhere, kill every insect with pesticides, kill every plant with herbicides. And now they're saying the virus is an enemy, but we are walking viruses, and therefore making peace with the earth by discovering our highest spiritual potential, knowing that we are spiritual beings, we're ecological beings, we are womanly beings, we are Shaktis. This is the time for Shakti to awaken and spread love, compassion, and absolutely refuse the virus of hate and fear and subjugation. Thank you so much.
That was so wonderful, Dr. Vandana, Shiva. That was so wonderful, the way you've actually summarized that it is really the time now to understand that we are Shaktis and we have to drive away the viruses of hate. I would now, and we'll get back to you. I would want you to, we'll come back in the course of the dialogue. And now I'd like to move forward and call upon Mrs. Sheila Kakre. If you've joined us, Mrs. Sheila Kakre is the president of All India Women's Conference. And I would request you to share your thoughts on the dialogue that we're having right now on Discover the Self. Discover yourself, especially how is it relevant for the women in the present scenario. Mrs. Sheila Kakre. Okay, I think शायद उनके network में issue हो सकता है. So we'll move forward. And we have Dr. Is Mrs. Sheila Kakre there?
Yeah. Can you see me and hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. Yes. Yeah. We can hear you. Yes, please.
Om Shanti and Namaskar to all of you who have joined in today's webinar. And thank you very much for inviting AIWC to give their views. It is indeed pleasure to meet all of you and see, listen to Chakradhari Didi ji, Jayanti Didi, and Vandana ji also here. We at AIWC, 94 years old organization, working for upliftment of women and children since 1927. We are definitely on the journey of empowering women. We started off with the education of women, and we thought that education, the formal education should be given to all the women, and they should be able to read, write, express their views. And this is how our journey began. And as it went on further, we had different problems to face, which our sisters face it. And we started off with giving them empowerment by giving them training in special programs so that they can be on their own, they can earn. But now with that also, later on, we started off with the empowering the women by uh, by by training them and in their bringing out their inner qualities, the shaktis, like the love and compassion which they have it naturally, which can be used in developing their society around, their family around. And this way we thought that the communal harmony and peace can be brought into the society, which was also the need of that time. Later on, and now during this current situation of COVID for past 2 years, we felt that the inner journey with the spiritual journey, which the qualities they have, they will be more brought up. And the training we started giving them according to that. We had some programs conducted for these ladies, our office ladies, our members, with Brahma Kumaris. We had one lecture arranged for peace and communal harmony with BK Shivani Didi. We had some programs for our staff members to bring in correlation and correlation and self-protection training was also given to them. Like that, we feel now also we feel that the our AIWC members, the branches all around the country, they should train the ladies, the ladies which are in the society, they are not educated or they are working in houses. They should be given some training or some education, some awareness program should be arranged for them so that they can face the situation of fear, whatever the fear due to the deaths in the last few years, last 2 years, whatever the deaths happened in the families, or they have to face sorry for that. There is some issue in the connectivity, and they have to face the issues during their during the problems which they are facing at home also, and in the due to the lockdown, the working women, they had to face the problems which cannot be controlled, and for that the inner qualities in them should be brought forward. So through AIWC, we are giving them training so that they can handle the situations at home also and in the offices also. I had the experience of getting this training, the Raj Yoga meditation training from the Brahma Kumari Center online, and that gave me some courage to face this situation at the head office also, the cause due to the COVID corona problems. It was indeed very helpful for me, and that I could face the problems here very well. And I feel that all our ladies, all our sisters should be given this, their inner powers should be encouraged and brought out. And that can be done with the help of Brahma Kumari's training of Raj Yoga meditation. And thank you very much for this time given to me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sheila Kakre. You've shared so beautifully that It is so important, especially in the present time, to bring out that Shakti within the women, whether we have to train them, whether we have to, and not just train them to do things or give them skills, but it is as much important to train them to bring out their own powers within, with the help of spirituality and Raj Yoga, as you mentioned, and as your organization is doing. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and bringing out and helping so many women in India, especially. I now move again, and I call upon Dr. Shruti Saxena. I think she's joined us and I can see her. Dr. Shruti is the Senior Vice President and Head of Marketing Technology, Citizens Financial Group. She's in Arizona right now and she's joined us. I know that it's very late for her. Dr. Shruti, I would like to, just share this thought with you. Like, we are talking about discovering the self, and we've talked about being Shakti, using our spirituality. You are there in the corporate world. You are there, and your past positions have also been, which you're supposed to be aggressive. We talked about compassion. We talked about love, but you're playing a different role. So share your thoughts on how you connect with the topic of today's discussion, discover yourself. And once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor to be a part of this session, to be sharing a stage with some of my most favorite speakers and mentors, whether it's be Sister Shanti or Asha Didi or Chakradhari Didi. It's just absolutely elating to be here. And on a day when we are celebrating women, how much better can it be? So going back to today's theme, and as you mentioned, Hussein, when we think about discovering ourselves, I think for me personally, a big portion of discovering myself comes from my newly formed identity as a Brahma Kumari. I came into Raj Yoga meditation and I started my spiritual journey a few years ago. And some of the things that I noticed, both changes in myself and changes around me, I think that for me truly was my journey of discovering myself. And so I want to kind of talk about some of the changes that I noticed. And that goes back to what you were describing, Sister Hussain, about just the corporate sector and some of the leadership styles that are, or the behavior that is generally expected. Some of the things that I noticed very early on, the moment I started meditating or started leading a spiritual life, was how much I started to enjoy silence, and how much more calm my mind felt. And when I started to enjoy and started to stay in this state of existence, I was able to see a lot more options and situations around me. My decision making became a lot better. And a lot of that had to do with just removal of a lot of false egos and waste thoughts and even fears. I know we touched upon some of these topics briefly, even with the earlier speakers, whether it's about fears or about even just some societal driven notions and preconceived identities that are sort of imposed on us. And the more I started to take these decisions, the more I started having more confidence in those decisions and did not feel the need to have additional validation and approvals. Again, going back to this whole concept of identity, and is my identity really driven by my gender? Or is it something deeper? Or is it me as a soul? Today, you're seeing more and more corporates, more and more organizations, more and more industries really talking about women leadership, about equality, about moving away from having gender as a concept. And they're trying to move into a consciousness of being genderless, raceless, and all of this. But that really, for me, while those were words and those were concepts that existed, and certainly, things that you talked about, whether it's equal pay, equal representation, for me, it became more an experience of myself the moment I embarked upon my own spiritual journey. And the moment I started to see myself, even though, keep in mind, I grew up with every opportunity. I grew up in a loving home. I was not really treated like the daughter in the family. Yet, how much of that changed the moment I stopped seeing myself as a body or as a woman, but started to see myself as a soul and as something that is far deeper in my identity. And that seemed to lead to a lot of changes around me. One of which is what you started to talk about, Sister was saying about being aggressive and being assertive. That's almost sort of an expected style of leadership or an expected style of operating, no matter what the power or no matter what the situation. So whether it be as a mother, whether it be as a leader, whether it be, in any setting, it's almost expected that if you have to be connoting certain amount of power, that aggressiveness or that assertiveness has to come in. But the moment I started to see myself differently, I don't feel the need anymore to operate out of anything but love and respect. Whether it be, again, like I said, in organizations or in any role that I might be playing. And there are just so many icons that gives me that confidence to operate out of that. Besides my own learning and my own experience, the entire organization of Brahma Kumaris, whether you think about it as an organization, here is an organization that's built on love, that's built on respect, that doesn't believe in titles, that doesn't believe in any of these hierarchies, and yet is able to operate and succeed in so many different countries. Leaders that this organization has seen, whether it's Dadi Prakashmani, whether it's been Dadi Janki, the iconic slogan with Dadi Prakashmani about Nirman and Nirman. I mean, if you ever hear her, that humility and that vision reflects in every talk that she has given, in every demeanor of hers. And she is she came across as a force to reckon with. Same thing with Dadi Janki. The demeanor or the environment that the vibrations that she managed to change, whether when she was addressing the UN or any room she walked into, despite the fact that she was back in the 70s, 80s, relatively strange looking in an international setting. So here is an organization and here are leaders that have shown that success can be gained while still staying in that identity, staying, operating out of love, operating out of respect, and knowing that each one of us is an immortal soul, is a child of God. And if God is my eternal parent, then I can operate without fear. Having to know all of this, that to me is true Shakti, being able to know who I am, what I am, and if I can operate out of that identity. Some of the keywords like I picked up from previous speakers, like I don't have to follow the herd. I don't have to be operating with leadership styles that have been followed in the past, that are being currently followed. I certainly don't need to follow the Silicon Valley model that Dr. Shiva was talking about. None of that is really needed. Success is possible. There are alternative ways to achieve success. There are alternative ways to make your mark and achieve everything that you want to in life, no matter what the role you're playing. I think that would be me.
That's great. Thank you so much for, it was really coming from the heart, and we could see that you've actually really it's touched your heart and you've put it in practical. So thank you so much, Shruti, for sharing your experience and what you thought about being Shakti is. We now move forward, and now we have Mrs. Deepika Jindal with us. Mrs. Deepika, you would, I hope you're online and you can hear us. Mrs. Deepika Jindal, she is the MD JSL Lifestyle, और हम आपसे भी request करेंगे कि आप share your thoughts on today's topic, today's theme of discover yourself.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Baba, thank you to all of you all in Sister Shanti, Chakradhari Didi, Asha Didi for giving me this opportunity to share my experience. I would say, like how Sister Jayanti said, I'm on a soul journey. I was on a soul journey. I was constantly looking for the right spiritual path that I wanted to lead. It took me about 15 years when Baba sort of reached me, and he found me, and I got to know about the Gyan that Brahma Kumaris that Baba gave us, and that's where my journey became new. This was a new journey for me, a new line, a new path, and a lot of changes I've seen. I've discovered a lot once I've got this practice, this Gyan from Baba. But the world has opened for me. In an Indian family, you're not only a businesswoman, you're a housewife, you're a mother. I'm a mother-in-law, I'm a daughter-in-law, I'm a sister, and so many roles we play in our lives, and as a corporate woman. So Baba's knowledge that has come to us and that he has shared with us, and he's given us so much of, it's a liberating knowledge. It's a knowledge that you are who you are. You get to know yourself. Your soul is opening out to so many new informations about your own self from inside, and yet is helping you to live that life in front of you. So whichever role you play as a mother or as a wife or as a daughter-in-law or as a corporate woman, you know where you're going, because you're always trying to check, am I doing the right thing? Is it the right thing that I'm doing? The murlis that Baba gives us every morning gives us so much information of how you can stop, check, correct, and move forward with no guilt also. Baba makes it so easy that don't feel guilty if you've done anything. Just stop, check, correct, and move forward. So, every day there's a rejuvenating path, there's a rejuvenating thought that you have, and so many technicalities we have here from where we can grow and improve ourselves, so that as the situation around us is today with so many complications, as Baba says, you live like a befikra bacha. You don't have any worries around you, because you have the right guidance, not only Baba's guidance of all the sisters, the family, the palna we get from them. You know that you're going to be absolutely safe, secure, and you are going to move, and you are moving in the right way, in the right direction, and nothing can be negative in your lives. So, in a family life, when you're surrounded with so many different personalities, so many different situations, you don't even have to think that, what's going to happen to you, because you're secure, you're protected, you're guided, and you are on the right path. And for me, it's given me a liberation in my own space. Inside, as a woman, you're always constantly stopping, checking to see, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right action I'm doing? But I was a Gita, studier of Gita, but every time you would come to a stop and you would wonder, now what am I to do from here? How am I going to change this negative thought that I have? How am I going to, be liberated from inside? Because you want to be that liberated soul, but you're always getting these negative thoughts, these different personalities that rub against you in different ways. And you want to feel good about, you want to have that shubh bhavna, that shubh kamna for everybody. But yet you constantly struggle with these two negatives and positives inside your life. But with Baba's Gyan and the guidance that he gives, it is helping you. I'm still a beginner. I've just been into Baba's Gyan for 9 months, but I can't tell you that it's opened so many doors for me in such a way that, I know that I am going to be that farishta that I want to be. That's my goal in life, because I've got goals. These are smaller goals in your life. You are to do what you are to do, but there is this big, large goal that we have in front of us that we all want to go towards. And, with that, all the barriers that are stopping us in this present world are just opening out. Those doors are slowly opening. Of course, you're getting stuck. It's not that you're always on that smooth journey. There are times when you do get that Maya's hindrance in your life, and you have to sort of stop and check yourselves. But at least you're on a path of you're going towards a way, the path, how to do it with yourselves and how to improve and grow in yourselves. So for me, it's always about being an internal person of how I can grow and improve myself. So I bring about the change around in my environment, and I've got the right path. And I'm really thankful that I'm here, and I'm here to share this process with each one in the family, and path in this journey with my spiritual family and with my own Lokik family, because I have a large family, because I have so many roles I am in, and I'm being able to share this knowledge with everybody, so that whoever wants to go in this path and wants to feel that liberation, that peace, that all those peace, happiness, anand, all that Baba is there to give us, we are here to experience in this life and move for a better life forward. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us of how you're actually using spirituality in different roles, and you're looking happy, and we can feel that happiness and the power that you're experiencing, and all the best with your journey ahead. So now we will move forward, and I'll request Dr. Priya Kaushal, who's a scientist who's joined us, to share your thoughts on Discover Yourself. Dr. Priya Kaushal has also been the Humanity Ambassador for World Humanity Commission. So I will request Dr. Priya to share your thoughts on Discover Yourself, especially that we're talking about the identity, the Shakti, and using our inner powers.
Om Shanti. A very good day to all the Shaktis present in the Zoom meeting. And of course, our walking angels, Jayanti Di, Asha Didi, and Chakradhari Didi Ji. You all always have been our admirable mentors for all of us. And it's an honor, especially in the group where all the women that I've been hearing have been through such wonderful journey in our Brahman life.
Dr. Priya, are you there? Can you hear us? So I think we can come back to you. I'll now go to Dr. Prachi. Dr. Prachi, are you there with us? Dr. Prachi?
Okay. Yes. Now I was muted.
Yeah, all right. So Dr. Prachi के बारे में बताएंगे कि आप you're a clinical psychologist and you're also a counselor with the United Nations, and presently you're based in Afghanistan. You're visiting Delhi for a short while, and we're very happy that you've joined us. So Dr. Prachi, request you to share your thoughts.
Om Shanti. Thank you to ORC for giving this opportunity. It's really a pleasure to be in this esteemed gathering. If I see from a psychologist's perspective, the process of self-discovery is dynamic, which means that ये एक टाइम का प्रोसेस नहीं होता, ये बदलता रहता है, तो हमें इसे रेगुलर बेसिस पे करना होगा। जैसे हम खाना खाते हैं, हम सोते हैं, उसी तरह सेल्फ डिस्कवरी भी लाइफ के फेजेस में बदलती रहती है, एंड वी हैव टू कीप डूइंग इट ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस। बिफोर गोइंग इनटू सेल्फ डिस्कवरी, आई विल टेल यू अ फ्यू थिंग्स की चंद्रधारी दीदी ने इसको टच किया था इसके ऊपर कि हम कभी कभी सेल्फ डिस्कवरी नहीं करते हैं क्योंकि हमें डर लगता है। सो वी अवॉइड डूइंग सर्टेन थिंग्स बिकॉज वी फियर कि हम कैसे करेंगे, क्या होगा, जो चल रहा है चलने दो। तो हम सेल्फ डिस्कवरी के ऊपर ध्यान ही नहीं देते। दूसरी चीज जो कभी कभी होती है जो हमें सेल्फ डिस्कवरी से रोकती है, वो हमारा मिथ, एक आइडिया ये होता है, मैं नहीं करूंगी तो कौन करेगा, ये काम होगा ही नहीं। उसकी वजह से बहुत ब्लॉक्स आने लगते हैं। तीसरा कारण जो हमें सेल्फ डिस्कवरी से रोकता है वो है कि हमें लगता है बस एक ही काम और कर लूं, इसके बाद आराम करूंगी, बस एक ही चीज और कर लूं, इसके बाद करूंगी, और वो एक चीज रुकती नहीं है। Something or the other keeps coming, and then we do not get time for self discovery. One of the other reasons कि हम सेल्फ डिस्कवरी नहीं कर पाते हैं वो ये है कि हमें लगता है अच्छा अगर मैंने इतना सा और कर लिया तो शायद लोग खुश हो जाएंगे, ये और कर लूंगी तो शायद लोग खुश हो जाएंगे। तो जब हम बार बार कुछ करते रहते हैं, जो पहले पॉइंट से रिलेटेड था कि एक काम और एक काम और, तो हम अपने लिए समय नहीं निकाल पाते हैं। माने कि सेल्फ डिस्कवरी के लिए हमें टाइम निकालना पड़ेगा टू लुक इनवर्ड्स एंड सी व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन विद अस। सो टिल वी टेक आउट दैट टाइम वी आर नॉट एबल टू डू सेल्फ डिस्कवरी। शुरू में थोड़ी तकलीफ होगी, ब्लॉक्स आएंगे बिकॉज वी हैवंट लुक्ड एट आवरसेल्व्स। तो अगर ये ब्लॉक्स आएंगे तो हम इनको कैसे ओवरकम कर सकते हैं? I'm going to give you a list of few questions, and those of you who have a pen and paper, please write them down and start looking for answers, because these are the questions that will help you to discover yourself. So question number 1 that I have is, how well do I know myself? मैं अपने आप को कितनी अच्छी तरह से जानती हूँ या अपने बारे में क्या जानती हूँ? Write down everything. I'm a soul, I'm a woman, I'm a human being, I'm a mother. You will start at the surface and then you'll go in the depth of who I am really, in addition to being a soul. What am I really? Who? So how well do I know myself? The second question is, what makes me who I am? मैं आज जो भी हूँ, चाहे मैं अपने आप को शक्ति कहूँ या मैं अपने आप को कमजोर कहूँ, मैं वो कैसे बनी, वो क्या हो रहा है? पर एक चीज जो याद रखने की है कि women are not only soft and gentle, they're also strong. जो चंद्रधारी दीदी बता रही थी कि त्याग, बलिदान, ये कमजोर व्यक्ति नहीं कर सकता. And as women, we do a lot of tyag, we do a lot of seva, and that's a sign of strength. So please start looking at what makes me who I am today. Question number 3, what is my purpose in life? मैं चाहती क्या हूँ, मेरा क्या उद्देश्य है, मेरा क्या aim है? So identify what is my purpose in life and what makes me happy. So sir, with these questions you're discovering yourselves. So what makes me happy? मैं उनमें से कितने काम करती हूँ, या सुबह बच्चों को भेजती हूँ, फिर खाना बनवाती हूँ, फिर सफाई कराती हूँ और मेरा सारा दिन इसी में निकल जाता है. So am I happy or am I drained? What makes me happy? The next question, number 5, is how do I want to transform my life? How can I transform my life, and why do I do the things that I do? And I know a lot of people will say, बच्चे पालें, करना तो पड़ेगा ही, खाना तो बनाना ही पड़ेगा. उसके beyond क्या है? So why am I doing the things I am doing? So ask these questions to yourself to understand who am I. Discover. Discovery का मतलब ही खोजना होता है. तो अपने आप को खोजिएगा. और एक चीज जो अपने आप को खोजने में बहुत जरूरी है वो ये कि हमारे अंदर एक इनर क्रिटिक होता है. उसको एक इनर कोच बना लीजिए. जो इनर क्रिटिक होता है वो हमेशा ये कहता है तू ये नहीं कर सकती, तुझसे ये नहीं होगा, तू बेकार है, तू किसी काम की नहीं है, तेरे बस का नहीं है. और इनर कोच होता है, इट कोचेस यू, इट सेज यू कैन डू इट, ट्राई अ बिट मोर, मे बी ट्राई दिस वे. तो ये अपने आप को जो हम सारे दिन कोड़े मारते हैं, इसको हमें अब पीठ थपथपानी है, कोड़े नहीं मारने हैं. सो साइलेंस योर इनर क्रिटिक एंड स्टेप बैक. तो जब आप इन प्रश्नों का उत्तर देना चाहेंगे तो आपको अपने रोल से, आप खाना बना रहे हैं, आप वाइफ हैं, आप पढ़ा रहे हैं, मैं काउंसलर हूं, you need to step back, take this time and reflect on these questions to answer who I am. It's a process which only you will discover, each one of us discover for ourselves. So there is no right and wrong answer. So start with your journey of self-discovery. Happy Women's Day. And thank you once again to Om Shanti Retreat Center for providing me this opportunity. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Dr. Prachi. You really shared those questions and those are really valid questions. I'm sure हम सभी उसको reflect करेंगे और हम अगर time होगा तो हम आपके पास पुनः आएंगे आपके अनुभव को और जानने के लिए. Now we'll go back to Dr. Priya Kaushal if she's joined us again. Yes, please. Can't hear you, Dr. Kaushal. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? Yes, please. You have to unmute yourself. Dr. Priya Kaushal needs to be unmuted.
Yes. Yes. Am I audible now?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. Om Shanti, and a very good day to all Shaktis which are present in our Zoom meeting. And salutations and admirable our mentors, Jayanti Di, Asha Di, Chakravarti Didi. All of you are living angels walking on this planet Earth. So we all have learned so much from you. And I am just going to be it's going to be a quick sharing. My journey with the knowledge and our Brahmakumaris has been, so I've been a product of an online baby. So as flying born Brahmin in the COVID time, and the entire Palna and entire knowledge has been coming from the entire gamut of our YouTube. So I guess we have been put to a lot of crash course from our YouTube gyan and whatever we could amass from all the different topics and all different teachers in our Brahmakumaris. So for me personally, on a professional front, the knowledge and the meditation technique has helped immensely, specifically when you're leading big teams. And there's this wonderful topic that our knowledge always talks about, putting a full stop. So I think understanding that full stop has has given immense change in our working ambit and also interpersonal relationships professionally. Since I am heading a mission, which is almost, we have almost two countries and with different projects, with different dialects, different cultures. So it used to be a very stressful work for people like us, since we were traveling in countries where even the language was not known to us and the work pressures were high. And understanding and getting into the Raj Yoga meditation has actually, initially, it was like a push on because you are struggling with the knowledge and trying to understand everything fast. And then now when slowly I've realized that it seeps so well that at the time of execution, you realize that actually you have whatever you have learned and how beautifully it has incorporated in our practical and daily life. So I think professionally, we all face situations where, the power to where to withdraw and where to respond. And it's a very tricky line because everything which, the knowledge talks about is like the way you talk, and whatever is in your vibration carries over. So I guess that the work is specific to us, people like us, it has changed so much, and the response which has come from my mission also was like unexpected responses came, because the behavioral part changed by the knowledge, and especially doing the meditations morning and evening really stabilized a lot. And I think this beautiful journey of knowledge, where we there is this that we talk about the wastage of the thoughts. So the qualitative life has increased so much, because now there is that awareness and that vigilance that we hear. This is a track which is going on a wastage or on an ordinary track. So we need to, come back to something which is extremely positive, or something which is very tangible in terms of putting your work and in place. And I think that the entire life went for people like me. My journey started with Osho. So I thought, wow, it was around 23, I guess I must be then. So I thought, wow, I've got a friend and a nice mentor. But then the journey went so long. Finally, when I realized and I discovered our BK, the Raj Yoga system. And it was like wherever my journey has been there, like in all, whether it was Art of Living, whether it was Isha Foundation. So there was always the curiosity seeking never ended. And I used to think that kya sari zindagi aisi chalegi, like wherever you land up with the true masters, so there'll only be a samadhi and there'll be no true masters, true living masters to teach. But then when I finally arrived at our BK, and then it was like whatever we were running for our entire life, in terms of all our questionnaire, day-to-day life, or in terms of, it's like the true word, rest in peace, I would say, RIP, which we would normally say when aborted out. But then I feel that this system of the Raj Yoga actually put entire gamut to peace. So now everything is so stabilized, and your vibrations also gets so much stabilized that you realize it with your team and with all your professional people that are around you, who are actually also noticing change in you. So when the response started coming from the other end, and then that was a time that, wow. So finally that push and hard work that I had to really put in to understand the knowledge, because when the knowledge came and the Raj Yoga meditation came to us for people like us who are the last kids on the block, so it was like, we need to know this, we need to understand so many things in a small time, and small time where you have to balance your professional life, your personal life, and also your spiritual life. So now I think at the moment I would say that Baba's knowledge is, our Raj Yoga meditation and this thing has been immense. So I'm sorry, it must have again dripped out. So the knowledge has been immense, and I am speechless actually. And at the moment I'm in Madhuban, so I have no words. What else we can thank the divine who has put us in the right track and, given us the best what he could give us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Priya, for joining us from Mount Abu. And really, it's been, very, very heartwarming to see that you're able to really rest in peace now. Rest in the way. So thank you once again for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
As we're moving forward, one pattern which has just come out is the pattern to understand that the Shakti is that soft power. Love is a power, compassion is a power, and to realize and use it, it's not a weakness. And how do we use it? Unless and until I've recognized myself that I'm not just this body, I'm not just this role, I'm not the beliefs that have been feeded into me since a child. I need to rediscover myself, my eternal identity, which is beyond what we are seeing, what is visible. And when we get in touch with that true self, whether it is by sitting in silence, creating time for meditation, understanding who I am, separate from our roles, it can actually bring out those powers of love, of compassion, of care, of truth in our lives, and it helps us to actually lead a better life. With that, I will, before we go to Asha Didi, I would request if there is anyone else who would like to share their thoughts. And of course, we'll go back to Jayanti Didi and Dr. Vandana Shiva for their closing comments before we close. But before that, is there anyone who would want to share or comment in a minute or two? Is there any, the Shaktis who are present with us? You can raise your hands. Okay, so
Om Shanti, and thank you so much, sister, for giving me the opportunity to share a few words or my feelings. My
just share your name also, your name.
Yeah, my name is Rashmi, and I'm from Sector 50, Noida. My journey with Brahma Kumaris has been almost of 10 years now, and it's been a real discovery of myself, because my entry into Brahma Kumaris has been only when I was looking for something to find a way to silence my mind, because I thought my mind was always on a work. But I realized I used to look into different aspects of meditation on looking at various platforms. But finally, when I landed up in Raj Yoga meditation, I could understand that you cannot silence your mind. You can only divert your thoughts to the right direction. So this has been a wonderful journey, and I'm loving this path. And I'm inspiring people to come and join us. So thank you so much, sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. So I'll ask Asha Didi to share your Jayanti Didi. Asha Didi says to first go to Jayanti Didi and Dr. Vandana before Asha Didi shares. So Jayanti Didi, you've heard us. We tried to, just have this dialogue in terms of understanding that playing different roles, women can use their spiritual power, their identity. You actually led us into how we can choose our consciousness. And we'd also like you to now share your thoughts as we are moving towards closing of this dialogue. Jayanti Didi? Jayanti Didi, yeah.
I've been hearing from many how finding spirituality has opened up a new door in which they've been able to not just discover the power within, but also they've been able to use it in their professional and home life. So that was a very beautiful sharing that I was hearing from many, many of the sisters. And what I'd like to say is that just as we are so aware of physical health nowadays, it's very, very important to be aware of my spiritual well-being and my spiritual health, because that impacts not only my physical body, but it also impacts everybody around me in terms of my relationships with them. And so my suggestion is a few things. Firstly, the practical things. I like very much our sister earlier telling us to make time for the self. Absolutely agree, essential. And so beginning the day with time for the self, for meditation. Secondly, feeding the mind powerful, inspirational, spiritual truth that is available in so many different ways. And so that really nourishes the soul. Be aware of the nourishment the body needs, but the awareness that I have to study something every day that's going to be inspirational and uplifting is absolutely vital. And the third thing that I'd like to say is really let me stay away from criticism, comparison, because all of these things lead to competition and conflict. And so none of that. Every single individual has their own particular role, and the diversity that Dr. Shiva spoke about at the beginning is such a beautiful thing to think about. I need to have the ability to appreciate the diversity around me, whether it's in terms of gender or race or religion or personalities. All of these things are part of the beauty of the diversity of the tapestry of life. And so third, let me stay away from all these seas. And if I look within and see what I need to do to contribute more to the world and myself and my family, but the world also, then I think we're all moving towards a better world. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. It's been wonderful to meet such a variety of very powerful Shaktis. Thank you.
Thank you, Didi, for joining us. Thank you very much. And Dr. Shiva, if you're still with us, it'll be nice to hear from you. You've heard a lot of people sharing their experiences, your comments, and before we go to Asha Didi. Dr. Shiva.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much, and a wonderful Women's Day to all. I think today's amazing celebration of Shakti shows that the redefining of power will not be done by writing and by lectures. The redefining of creative power will be done through our lives and living and karma yoga. And women will play a leadership role because as Chakradhari Didi said, it's about Palna, the love and caring that we have saved as seeds in the worst of times. And very often they lay dormant. But now is the time, the world needs it, because otherwise, between wars and non-sustainability and greed and injustice, not only is the possibility of life on earth being extinguished, worse, people are being pushed into such inhuman conditions. I mean, I just look at all the remnants of war, look at Afghanistan, look at Yemen, look at what's going on now in Ukraine. And, you know, the Ukraine invasion is interesting because it shows that here is a country fighting for defending freedom, but at its borders, it is not being the nicest to people of a colored skin. And those two realities and our two potentials are right there. So making peace with the earth and each other, doing karma yoga for sowing the seeds of justice, because our deep humanity, which is a deep spirituality, allows us to live in ways without taking others' share. And it allows us to live in ways that we take care of everyone. And we can end hunger, at least our work in Navdani has shown that. We can end disease created by bad food. All these are within our possibilities. And I know the Brahma Kumaris practice this when I went to your beautiful headquarters, yeah. The care for the food, the care for the agriculture, all that is practiced. And finally, I think when I mentioned that Silicon Valley vision of what spirituality is, or dystopia of what spirituality is, I think the very idea that creation is deeply spiritual and it holds together the world in this indivisible consciousness. And that then becomes our duty to also protect the material world of which we are a part, because it is imbued with divinity and consciousness. That has been my seva in life, protecting the sacred life on earth And as our beautiful Shanti Shlok says, let there be peace of the trees and the skies and the air and the waters, and that peace, may that peace be with you through our Shakti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shiva. And really, you are also a karma yogi. We visited your center as well, and we've seen the way you're not only writing and spreading the word in the world, but you're also doing a lot of work with the locals. And of course, this realization of spirituality is the way forward, and women are going to take it up, and they're going to be sustaining this thought. So thank you once again. And before we close, of course, we have some meditations, a beautiful activity of blessings. We have Asha Didi, and just after that, I would want everyone that we have a group photograph. We look at one another, but before that, Asha Didi, you've been with us, sitting here, listening quietly. Please share your thoughts, your vision, and of how do you look at this dialogue on discovering the self.
We can't hear Asha Didi.
Can you hear? Can you hear her?
Om Shanti.
Now.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, many, many thanks to all of you for joining this meaningful dialogue. And different dimensions have been highlighted by our sisters. When we were deciding on the topic, this simple topic, discover yourself, when it was spoken, all of us who were in the meeting, we were one at this, that this is most appropriate. And all of us have spoken about the topic from different angles. My thought goes to the times when this organization was coming up. Our founder, he discovered there are leadership qualities in women, and women can make a lot of difference in bringing transformation in the society. And from that time onwards, up to this day, I'm happy to share with you, it is the women who are the administrative heads, women who are the teachers at different centers, women who are in leading roles all over. I think it is such an organization where women are at the leadership pedestal. And when we discover ourselves, I also found there are those qualities which have been mentioned already, caring, etc. All these qualities are essential if we want a little change in the society. It is not merely what qualities we have, it is not sufficient just to know about them. We do know all these qualities, we do know our power also. But most important now, when we are living in such a world where there are uncertainties, insecurity, instability, we are not alone. We have our family with us. We have our different relationships with us. And single woman can make a difference by empowering herself and empowering her family members. The other day I was speaking somewhere. I said, जब हम लोग को कोई कर्फ्यू होता है, कुछ होता है, तो हम सब चीज का प्रबंध करते हैं, लेकिन क्या हम कभी इस बात को भी सोचते हैं कि ऐसे डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन को फेस करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? वो जो शक्ति चाहिए मेरे में तो हो, लेकिन अगर मेरे साथियों में नहीं है तो भी वो चैलेंज मेरे लिए सदा बना रहेगा। इसलिए स्पिरिचुअलिटी, जैसा मैं समझती हूँ, स्पिरिचुअलिटी हमारे अंदर जो गुण हैं, विशेषताएं हैं, योग्यताएं हैं, उनको प्रैक्टिकल फॉर्म देना, और इस चीज को अगर हम बढ़ावा देते हैं, इसको बढ़ाते हैं, समाज में बढ़ाते हैं, और फर्क दिखाई दे रहा है। एक समय था जब बिल्कुल कोई बात नहीं सुनता था, परंतु आज लोग प्यार से सुनना पसंद करते हैं और इस बात को रियलाइज करते हैं कि बाहर से जितना मर्जी हम कर लें, लेकिन जब तक आंतरिक शक्ति से उस चैलेंज को हम फेस नहीं करेंगे तब तक कोई फायदा नहीं होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा। इसलिए मेरी आप सबसे एक ये रिक्वेस्ट रहेगी कि हम लोग इस डायलॉग से एक ये चीज सोचें कि हम महिलाएं ऐसी कौन सी बात को समाज में लेके आए जिससे कि उनका ध्यान इस विषय पर जाए और अपने आप को शक्तिशाली बना सके, ताकि जो चैलेंजेस हैं, जो बातें हम सबके अंदर, हमारा ऐसा मानना है कि परमात्मा की संतान होने के नाते वे सब गुण, चाहे वो प्रेम है, शांति है, सद्भावना है, शक्ति है, ज्ञान है, ये विजडम है जिसको मैं कहूँ, ये सब चीजें हमारे अंदर हैं, परंतु इनको यूज करना, प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में लाना, कुछ हम इस तरीके की चीज करें जिससे लोगों के अंदर ये भावना जागृत हो कि इन चैलेंजेस को हम फेस कर सकते हैं, भय से नहीं, फियर से नहीं, कोई टेंशन से नहीं, स्ट्रेसेस से नहीं, परंतु उसको फेस करने के लिए अपनी आंतरिक शक्ति का विकास करें, ताकि वो चैलेंज हमें चैलेंज के रूप से ना नजर आए। और हम लोगों ने ये कार्य किया है, ऐसा हमारा मानना है। अगर आप देखेंगे तो हम मदर टंग, मदरलैंड, ये सब चीजें बोलते हैं, भारत की नदियों के नाम महिलाओं पर हैं, ये सब चीजें हैं, लेकिन जरूर इन्होंने यादगार तब बनती है जब कोई व्यक्ति कोई कार्य करता है, तो ये कार्य हमने किया है। तो अगर एक प्रकार के जैसे क्रांति होती है, अगर इस चीज को लेकर के हम इस तरीके से समझें और समाज में कुछ प्रैक्टिकल में हम ऐसा करें, तो मैं सोचती हूँ कि जो हमारी अपने साथ हार्मनी है, परिवार के साथ है, अपने साथियों के साथ है, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली जो हम शांति चाहते हैं, प्रेम चाहते हैं, वो कहीं से तो नहीं आएगा, हमको अपने अंदर से उभारना होगा। और जैसा कि कहा गया, इंट्रोस्पेक्शन के द्वारा, मेडिटेशन के द्वारा, सेल्फ कॉन्वर्सेशन के द्वारा, आपस में बातचीत के द्वारा हम इन चीजों को उभार सकते हैं। तो आगे का भी हम सोचें। आज तो हमने किया, परंतु आगे हम इस चीज को कैसे लेकर के चलें, ताकि ये समाज, ये देश हमारा प्यारा देश बन सके और सुखदायी हो सके, स्वर्णिम संसार की ओर चल सके। स्वर्णिम संसार कोई मैं लग्जरी और उससे नहीं कहती, लेकिन स्वर्णिम कहती हूँ आत्मा की अवस्था, जहाँ पर सद्भावना है, एक दूसरे लाभ है, रिस्पेक्ट है, एक दूसरे के प्रति सहयोग की भावना है, उसको मैं स्वर्णिम संसार मानती हूँ। ऐसे संसार को हम लोग क्रिएट कर सकें, और हम में शक्ति है, हम कर सकते हैं, निस्संदेह ये हमारा कार्य है। अगर एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी समझ करके भी हम करेंगे तो ये संभव हो सकेगा। आप सबने ज्वाइन किया और अपना समय दिया, उसके लिए पर्सनली मैं आप सबको एक एक को बहुत बहुत दिल से शुक्रिया और धन्यवाद कहती हूँ। ओम शांति।
थैंक यू दीदी, आपने ये जो हमें अभी समझाया कि ये जो हमने डायलॉग किया है, लेकिन इसकी सफलता तब है जब इसे और रियलाइज करें। और बहुत सुंदर एनालॉजी जो मुझे लगी, जब आप कहते हैं कि जब हम कोई इमरजेंसी होती है तो हर एक चीज का इंतजाम करते हैं, प्रबंध करते हैं, खाने पीने का, स्टॉक का, लेकिन हमें उस सिचुएशन को फेस करने के लिए मेंटली या स्पिरिचुअली किन पावर्स की जरूरत होगी, वो स्टॉक हमें खुद में भी जमा करना है और सब में। एंड द बेस्ट वे इज टू रियलाइज दैट आई एम अ शक्ति एंड ऑफ कोर्स प्रैक्टिस spirituality. तो हम आगे बढ़ेंगे and we will have a very beautiful activity of blessings, and post which we'll have meditation by Sister Deepa, who's joined all the way from Mumbai. So वो हमें meditation, Raj Yoga, जो भी हम realization की बात कर रहे हैं वो कराएंगे। लेकिन उससे पहले मैं आप सबसे अनुरोध करूंगी कि हम सभी अपने कैमरास को एक बार ऑन कर लें, बिकॉज हम एक ग्रुप फोटोग्राफ लेंगे इस सुंदर वुमेन्स डे डायलॉग की यादगार, और हम कनेक्टेड भी रहेंगे, आगे भी आपसे जुड़े रहेंगे और भी मिलते रहेंगे। बट इफ आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू ओपन योर videos so that we have a sweet memory of today. So and that was a very beautiful sharing from each one of you, and really, as Didi was saying, it's been so nice that you actually took out the time and you've been here for whole of the dialogue. So हमारा थोड़ा सा ही कार्य बचा है। बहुत ही सुंदर एक्टिविटी है जिस 8 शक्तियों से हमने स्टार्ट किया था। इन द बिगनिंग यू हैव दिस ब्यूटीफुल एनिमेशन सॉन्ग। हम उन्हीं 8 शक्तियों में से कौन सी शक्ति मुझे मिलती है, बहुत ही सुंदर ब्लेसिंग्स लेकर आएंगी सिस्टर विधात्री। सो आई रिक्वेस्ट सिस्टर विधात्री टू टेक एंड शेयर विद अस दोस ब्लेसिंग्स।
Om Shanti to all the lovely Shaktis who are present in this session. And thank you आदरणीय आशा दीदी, चक्रधारी दीदी, जयंती दीदी जो हमारे बीच में थे। And now we're going to have a very short and very sweet activity. So here I will be sharing with you a screen, and on that screen you will have 8 cards. So mentally you have to just pick up one card and keep it to yourself, which card do you pick up, right? And as we proceed, we will tell you what is the significance of that card. So I'm sharing with you the screen. So these are the Shakti blessings, and you have these 8 cards in front of you, these 8 colors and these 8 cards. So mentally, just pick up one card for yourself. So are we ready to move ahead? Are we ready? Okay. So for those who have picked up the first card, this is your blessing. The power to withdraw. And I'll just read out this blessing for all of you. You have the power to get, you have the power to get real, courageously moving into a place of introversion, solitude, and reflection. You rediscover the imperishable value of the self. You remain in the world, but beyond its influence, connected and true to yourself. So you can write down in the comment section, is it helpful and relevant to you, those who chose this first card. And moving on to the next card. So those who have chosen this card, your power today, your blessing today is the power to back up. And this blessing says that you have the power to let go, holding nothing wasteful of the past in your heart and nothing pointless of the future in your mind. You say no to negativity, free of a limited identify of the self. You have natural compassion for yourself. So this is your blessing for today. And moving on to the next card. So those who have chosen the third card, your blessing is the power to tolerate. You have the power to love yourself. Having seen your pure essence, you are aware of your own worthiness. Standing independently in a love for the self, you are able to tolerate your inconsistencies. So this is the power to tolerate for all of us. And moving on to the fourth blessing, your blessing is the power to accommodate. You have the power to be content. With a deep understanding and acceptance of yourself, you experience an inner contentment that is impervious to the events around you. Your commitment to truth and faith in yourself. So moving on to the next set of blessings, those who have chosen this fifth blessing, the green one, your power is the power to discern. So as we go through each of these blessings, the one that I have chosen is something personal to me, but there are other blessings that I can always imbibe and I can always make them my own. So the power to discern is, you have the power to know. By maintaining a connection with your inner truth and faith in your highest self, you understand the knowledge of truth and falsehood, right and wrong, reality and illusion. And the sixth blessing is the power to decide. You have the power to trust yourself. With a heart filled with true self-respect, you have the power to know what is right and follow through on that knowing. You are prepared to honor your choices. And you have the trust that that choice, something that you decide, is going to be fruitful for you. The next blessing, the red one, the red card, this is the blessing of the power to face. You have the power to be free, fearless, equipped with courage, honesty, and unconditional love. You are able to face whatever comes with integrity and determination. You remain beyond the influence of negativity and face all situations with integrity and determination. And moving on to the last card, yours is the blessing of the power to cooperate. You have the power to find solutions. Independently certain of your own worth, you are free of any desires for recognition or praise. From this state of fullness and flexibility, you naturally provide what is needed for success, becoming an instrument of true cooperation. So these were the blessings of powers that we received from the Almighty. And I'm sure we all have got at least one for ourselves, and the rest of them are also freely available for us to imbibe. All these powers are our own powers, which we freely get from the Almighty by the connection of pure love that we establish with Him. And moving on next, we have a short experience of meditation, which will guide us how to connect with Supreme, the Almighty, and get these powers from Him. And I'm also happy to let you know that many of our sisters are with us on YouTube, listening to us, joining these celebrations, and taking the benefit of all these conversations, dialogues, and inputs. Thank you, Sister Hussain.
Thank you so much, Sister Vidhatri. It was really beautiful. I got the red card and Asha Didi got the green card. And I'm sure all of us there would have chosen some color, and it was very interesting to see that it was a little bit matching, of course, or those qualities that we have to really bring up in ourselves. So thank you for that beautiful activity. And as we are closing, it won't be complete till we actually experience that connection. And to give us that experience of discovering the self and connecting with the Supreme, we have with us, we're very fortunate, Sister Deepa from Vileparle, Mumbai. She has been a yogi since childhood, and she's been dealing with the corporates. She's been doing seminars and traveling, and she's a living karma yogi. As Dr. Vandana Shiva said, that we need karma yogis who can actually inspire and awaken. She's one of those. So we are very fortunate that we have Sister Deepa who's going to lead us into that meditation. Request Sister Deepa to guide us into a meditation.
Om Shanti. It's been a pleasure to receive so many blessings, and I'm sure all of you also enjoyed this beautiful exercise. We also had so many wonderful healing words and inputs, so insightful from all our speakers. Asha Didi also guided us towards experiencing the power within and then being able to express it in our daily interactions. As the topic says, discover yourself. So let's take this beautiful journey of experiencing ourselves and enjoying that beautiful connection we have with the Supreme. So as we take a few moments, consciously, I allow myself to be silent, slowing down my mind, allowing myself to withdraw from the outside all the different thoughts about what we need to do after this session. I allow myself to disconnect and enjoy my own company. Through my mind's eye, I see myself alone in this beautiful moment of silence. Through my mind's eye, I recognize this beautiful self. We've been talking about the innate being. Let me visualize this beautiful light shining in the midst of my forehead, just behind my eyes. I see this beautiful light, so pure, so radiant. I am a being of peace, a being of light. Visualize this beautiful light of peace radiating and slowly spreading in my entire body, relaxing me, allowing me to be comfortable. And as I feel relaxed, I return back to the awareness of this beautiful divine spark of energy. I feel this inner calmness within as I recognize that I am a being of peace. And as I enjoy the sweet stillness of my mind, I experience peace to be my natural state, my original state. And in this peaceful state of mind, it is easy for me to reconnect with the source, the ocean of peace. my spiritual parent. And through my mind, my thoughts, I travel. I travel beyond this physical world where I'm playing my roles, fulfilling responsibilities. And yet I choose to fly beyond. Through my mind's eye, I see this beautiful light traveling beyond the world of matter to the world of silence. Soft golden red light. And here I connect to the source of peace, my spiritual father and mother. The universal source of light. And as I come close to the light of God, through my mind's eye, I see this beautiful divine light who, like me, is a beautiful point and yet the ocean of peace, the ocean of light, the ocean of power. I feel God's pure love, unconditional love, filling my mind and heart with so much of strength and security. I know I belong to God. He's my spiritual parent, my loving companion. This belongingness gives me this feeling of security. I am a Shiv Shakti, combined with the Supreme Father Shiv Baba. I experience God's unlimited love, power, and peace filling me, allowing me to be free from my own weak thoughts and limitations. And I recognize my inner power. I am a Shakti. God's blessings are filling me with the power and wisdom to choose my thoughts and my response to people and situations. I am the master of my life. I also have been gifted with the responsibility to be an angel of love and compassion. Feeling powerful, feeling blessed, knowing that I'm always in the company of God. His canopy of blessings protecting me, nurturing me, feeling blessed, I gently come back. I come back to my present. I'm aware of my surroundings, and yet I feel the power which I've experienced from the divine. I am a Shiv Shakti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much, Deepa Didi, for that wonderful experience. And thank you once again. Thank you, Chakradhari Didi, Jayanti Didi, Dr. Vandana Shiva, Mrs. Sheila, Shruti, who's still, it's so late in night, but you still joined us from US, Mrs. Deepika Jindal, Dr. Priya Kaushal, and Dr. Prachi, and of course, Asha Didi, for organizing this event. Thank you once again. Om Shanti, and we hope to meet all of you in physical also someday. But otherwise, we'll keep having such sessions, we'll keep connected, and we'll keep this energy forward of being a Shakti and using our inner powers, connecting with the Supreme and changing the world. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Screen call them.